Okay, so we are underway with Harvard versus Yale. This is a highly anticipated match. These are rival schools in the Ivy League. You all know, I'm sure. This is Marissa Day. This is Harvard's board 3, I believe. So they have just started. Let me make sure I announce this to everyone. Let's see. And let me make sure I'm following everyone. All right. So I don't see Jimmy's game yet. But it should be starting soon. And yeah, with that, I think I'm ready to go. We're underway. Chess Web, this is the board 2 from Yale. So these are both schools' A teams. So this is the best players they have to offer. This is Division 1. This is week 3. Players are coming off a bye week last week, so they should be, in theory, well rested. It is 10 a.m. for them, 7 a.m. for me, bright and early. But I'm excited. This is a highly anticipated match. Always fun to watch rival schools go at it. Off the top of my head, I know UCLA and USC will play. Cal and Stanford will play, which when they play in football, it's called the big game. So I think that might be it's close towards the end of the season. But each school from each division will play. Yeah, line arts. My name is not actually Joe Bruin. It is because I did go to UCLA. So I graduated from UCLA 2 years ago. Almost 3 years ago actually now. But yeah, my real name is Joe Lee actually. um, yeah, a lot of people think that I'm Dutch because Bruin is a Dutch name, I guess, or it means brown or something. But no. All right, let me try to focus on this chess here. Yeah, I don't know why the third board has not started. V Prahara, I did get my hair cut, but not on stream. That's a different story for another time. But thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Okay, so black has castled kingside, and they've gotten the rook to the e file. Trying to hold on to this pawn. It's somewhat annoying. It's in white's territory. White's half of the board. White, meanwhile, has not yet castled. And I'm not sure what the delay is. But yeah, white has pushed up these pawns on the dark squares, potentially targets after white castles. But this bishop can come out a couple places. You don't really want to go here because of the trade. So probably this or this would be the most realistic. White could also try to gang up on this pawn. Okay, going here. This is blockading this pawn and solidifying this pawn. It is a little awkward, but honestly, it's a fine place to go. If you go here, you might be pressured. But you could potentially take here and then try to take here. But we could see a potential push, and that'll open up some lines for black in that line. But yeah, we don't see that. Bishop e3, the way to go. Apparently blocking this e pawn. But the e pawn doesn't really want to move necessarily. This pawn is not really under threat. This also prevents this. Not that it was possible before. So white probably going to develop one of these two pieces now. Yeah, the bishop comes out, extra support over e4. White still has to deal with the king and the queen. So both players still in development here. Neither side fully developed. And most of the time is off the clock already. This is a 5-2 time control. Marissa Day here, only a minute left. We already have a result here. This is Doraemon, the FIDE master from Yale, top board, taking down Ella here, the fourth board from Harvard. This looks like a pretty gnarly checkmate. So king up. I mean, it's already lost for white. Queen here to prevent this, and you self-mate right there. So no more flight squares from the king. All right, back to our game here. White does decide to castle kingside. Let me update the scoreboard real quick. Doraemon, the first point of the game, of the match, I should say. Okay, so both sides get their last knight into the game. White still needs to connect rooks, get the queen in. So knight steps up, potentially going to bring this queen in. Also guarding this and hitting the bishop. So the bishop tucks back. White has barely any time. Less than 15 seconds, 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. They're going to be living off the increment if they move. With 3 seconds left, they tuck the bishop back. So yeah, this pawn push kicks the knight out, and black wants to take here, doubling these pawns, but also weakening all of these pawns. So the bishop tucks back, trades of knights, bishop retakes, maintaining the pawn structure. Now this knight is going to hop in, is what I assume. So rook here, rook opposite the queen, 4, 3, 2. A sacrifice here. We could see a counter sacrifice to maintain the material. And that's exactly what we see. 3, 2. I mean, white is living off the increment. Meanwhile, Chessweb from Yale has a solid minute on the clock. Pinning this knight to the rook, somewhat annoying. Perhaps preparing e3. Bishop comes in now, going for a fork. Rook lift to defend, but now we could see e3, and we do. Rook sacrifice now, an exchange sack. Bishop hits the queen. Now the knight is pinned. This will double these pawns. No, rook lift. Takes, queen up, hitting 2 pawns. So white's playing pretty well. Down an exchange, but with the bishop pair. And super low on the clock. So, okay, queen gobbles up e3. Now this pawn is hit. Do you trade down or maintain the bishop pair? 1 second. Oh my goodness. Okay, with less than a second on the clock, Marissa Day decides to keep the bishop on the board. There's a fork, so the bishop takes, rook takes back, and now this is a really solid setup. In the center, there's no pawn to kick out this bishop. White, with a literal second left on the clock, makes a move. This bishop's protecting all these weak points. So black at some point can sacrifice the rook for the bishop. Now mate is threatened. This pawn not really threatened. King steps up anyways. Pawn push. Gobble up that pawn. Queen check. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Now the repetition helps white a little bit, because you can gain some time that way. Chessweb also low on the clock now, but not nearly as low as Marissa Day. Yep, pawn push. I wouldn't have traded there. Oh, there's a four. No, never mind. That's a good tactic. Chessweb loses the rook. Down a bishop now. Trying to get the queens off. Denying that. e4. Going for a flag. What else do you have? There's nothing. Okay, there's some checks. Not here. Just here. That. Looking for that pawn with check, and it comes. Another check. Here loses this pawn with check. King here. There's a check here. Now the pawn's defended. A check. You don't want to trade queens. You want to keep checking. Queen block. Here, and now this is a weak point. Okay, just going to run up the pawn. Wow. King here. Oh, and that forces the queens off. You get the queen trade, and now the pawn is going to promote. Marissa Day, with literally less than a second left on the clock, gets the mate. Chessweb goes for that pawn trade on the b file, but gets the king and rook forked by the queen. So, sacking the exchange worked out. Crazy game. We had Chocolate Gummy here from Harvard, board 1, get a game. So let me update the scoreboard, and we have the other game started. So Harvard takes the lead there. Two to 1, but we have this fourth board underway. And it looks like white is doing well. Well, the knight's going to go. But this king very short on squares. White yet to develop a majority of the pieces. We have 2 pieces working. But they're up a rook and a pawn for a knight. So up an exchange and a pawn. Let's go back a little bit. Let's see what happens. So we have knight f3, pawn takes, knight takes, looking at f7, d5, blocking out the bishop, but now the queen comes in. Yeah, this is a gnarly little check because the f pawn has moved, and after the pawn block, you have the knight sacrifice. This is a little bit like Puzzle Rush. And here the knight comes out with tempo on the queen. But now you have check here. and you win the rook. So that is one way to lose an exchange. Looks like black is going for some counterplay. Look at this. Bishop develops, castles, and now bishop takes h2, saying if you take my bishop, there's going to be a knight discover check, not on the king, but on the queen. Opening up the line for the queens, and if you take the knight, you lose it. So this pawn having yet to move, blocking this bishop, and so the queen is hanging out here unprotected. So black gets away with a pawn and is now only down an exchange, but this open h-file could be very useful if this queen can find her way over. Unfortunately, I still think white is in a bit better of a spot. But black has chances still. Jimmy, this is from Harvard. I believe they're board 2. And this is RV Chess from Yale, who is the board 3. So some of the players have started their second round games, but we'll stick with this one. This is the last game of round 1. And there are 4 matches, or 4 rounds in a match. 4 rounds of 4 games. So each player from each school plays each player from the other team for a total of 16 games. So first team to 8.5 points wins. Harvard with the initial lead 2-1, but looks like Yale has good chances to even things up after round 1 with this game. So we'll stick around and see. Both players about 2,200, so even strength in rating. I would assume white is trying to... Oh, I haven't been updating the moves. Okay, so yeah, white wants to push the d pawn to open up the bishop. Black gives up this pawn here, lines up the bishop with the queen, and white just keeps taking pawns. Now knight takes, opens up that diagonal, and so now we're caught up to the live board. RV Chess is Ramvish Wanathan. Definitely going to move the queen here. So queen goes back, and now if knight takes, we'll see queen takes with check, bishop block perhaps. So you could consider taking with the pawn, but I don't think you want to double isolate your pawns. I think you would rather invest a move of taking with the queen and then moving the queen. So instead, black just goes with tempo again on the queen. And you got to watch out. If you move the queen like here or something, then there's queen check, right? And if king moves, well, you're mated. So this is a very powerful bishop, and you can't really block here either. So yeah, strong bishops and an open h-file proves to be somewhat dangerous for white. You could go here, but then you could potentially see a repetition. White definitely does not want a repetition. White is up in material, and so instead they go for the bishop trade for the queens. If you take my queen, I'll take your queen. And if you don't, well, then I can now move my queen without fear of this check on the h-file. So potentially queen here, dodging the bishop, and also maintaining an eye on the h-file and saying, what are you going to do with your bishop? We could see a queen trade potentially, but that would be pretty much that you can go here and block this as well. So black is going over these ideas. Do I take and trade down, or do I go here and allow him to go here? And that's going to help white out as well, actually, because now this bishop's going to get on this diagonal. In fact, if you go here, no, you can't go there yet because the knight is still covering this. So yeah, Jimmy down to 1:20. RV Chess is a minute over that, so blocks this with the knight and maintains the pressure here. But I would definitely anticipate RV Chess to pile up along this diagonal and get opposite the king. This is my guess, but your guess is as good as mine. No idea what they're gonna play here. Maybe we'll see bishop takes knight, actually, because that'll also maintain pressure on the queen. But I highly doubt it, because then after queen takes, again, it's gonna be hard to stop this. So I think you'd have to do something drastic. But don't think we'll see that. This is my guess. RV Chess does have a little bit more time than Jimmy, but not by much. But they are thinking here. So clocks are about even. RV Chess thinking where to put the queen. I don't think we're going to see a trade. I think we're going to see a queen move. Queen can also go. No, the bishop is no longer hanging, so the queen doesn't have to defend this, and there's no h-file check. I just think this is definitely the most active, and yep, they find it. Queen h4 is played, so piling up here. The threat is to take this knight, actually. Well, not really. The bishop defends the knight here, so... but yeah, white is still threatening to win a piece. Ooh. Okay, queen and bishop lined up, but... Okay, the knight is no longer pinned, so that makes sense. I could imagine rook d1. I could also imagine this check. Try to flush this king out. So, knight takes knight, trying to get control over f6 for this check. So, yeah, Jimmy not in a good spot. Probably not liking their position too much. Both players now under a minute on the clock. If knight takes, we'll probably see bishop takes just to maintain this bishop. We could also see, again, rook a to d1. I'm a big fan of this move. Just opposite the queen, getting a piece into the game. You do allow black to get their rook into the game as well, but I think they don't have time for that because this is a direct threat. No, so going for check here. This is a fork, so we can take this. Next, king has to move, or you block like this. Okay, you block. There's no pin to win because the knight is still covering this, and you can't just take the knight because then you hang your queen. So white trades queens down. Now goes rook a to d1. So if the knight moves, we can take this bishop. The knight could go here to defend the bishop. Ooh, if this, you might see c4. Yeah, now this bishop is hanging. I don't like this c6 idea. I think you should have gone to f4. So now the bishop's attacking the rook. The pawn blocks that, so not even going two pieces for the rook. Trying to get as much material as possible. Jimmy with 10 seconds on the clock, gonna go down. Two pieces hanging. No good defense. Yeah, he attacks the bishop. Don't even need it. Trading down here. I mean, okay. Rook over. Bishop check. You get an exchange back, but you're already down so much material. Rook takes. Blocks with the rook. Now takes with check. No, goes here. Going for these pawns instead. So yeah, RV Chess should tie this up for... Oh, that's a nasty pin. And Jimmy resigns. So, tied up at 2 here. Let's look at ChessWeb versus Ella. So both teams, board 1 and board 3, have gotten points. The board 2s and board 4s yet to get a point. So we have board 2 from Harvard. No, sorry, board 4 from Harvard versus the board 2 from Yale. Both players looking for their first point in the match. What is going on here? ChessWeb is up a boatload of material. Ooh, wait, what is this? Gives up the queen for... Why is this? I'm trying to think here. Okay, no, gives up the queen for a rook. What is this move all about? I mean, white won the queen somehow. Or... Oh my god. Okay, well, the game ended very quickly after initial inspection. So here, rook check wins this rook. Yeah. So after this, trying to trade off rooks, this check inserted here. So maybe like bishop here is needed. But no, rook takes, and then you have a fork. So yeah, really tough spot. So able to give back the queen and still win. So ChessWeb now takes Yale's lead back. They're up 3-2. I'm still interested in what happened in this game. Where did Black's queen go? Knight here, pawn here. Ooh, yeah, en passant. You can't take the pawn because now your queen is hanging and there's a nasty discover check. So we saw this in the other game too, right? We saw a bishop sacrifice to try to lure the king into a discovery. Here, the knight even gives a fork for good measure. So the queen goes down, and now a new game has started. Okay. Wait, have Dorimon and Marissa Day. So Marissa Day won their first game, but lost to Dorimon. My apologies for the game's ending so quickly. The players know what they're doing. So Dorimon is at 2. ChessWeb is at 1. So now the lead is 2 points in favor for Yale. So yeah, the boards 1 and 2 getting the job done for Yale. Here we have board 1 from Harvard going to try to get some points back up against RV Chess. So both of these players off a win from their last round, looking to add on to that. Just started their game. I don't know if I caught the other game. Which one was that? Okay, so Jimmy has yet to start his game against NK123, who is the 4th board from Yale. So I'll keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, we'll stick with this game. So both players trying to play in the center. We have a pin on this diagonal now, so we cannot take, as that hangs our bishop. So potentially we'll see a queen lift. Yep, just defends here, connects the rooks. Black, meanwhile, has to develop the knight. Nolan is playing Jimmy right now. Oh, did I not follow Jimmy? Okay, I got it. Thank you. All right, so these are the last 2 games of round 2. So Yale winning on their top 2 boards. Can Harvard's top 2 boards answer back? Jimmy's still looking for his first point. So is Nolan from Yale. We'll stick with Chocolate Gummies game. Okay, so white has a target here. D5. So knight blockading this. This is an outpost. No pawn can kick the knight out. The knight isn't in black's half of the board though, but this is a beautiful blockading square. So in an even material position like this pawn sticks out to me like a sore thumb, especially on a light square where the bishop cannot control the square in front of the pawn. In fact, this pawn is just blocking out this bishop. This knight is well placed, but the knight can be kicked out at the right moment with f3. So black is trying to trade down rooks. I would have liked to have seen rook to d1 with rook a to c1, but either way, black would contest the c file. This is the only completely open file, so the rooks definitely want to be in the c file. Both players playing relatively quickly. RV Chess having only used 30 seconds of the clock, and they're already looking to go into the end game. So king over into checking distance, but instead going to c3, attacking this bishop. So you don't want to take with the rook because that allows this bishop pin. So takes with king, bishop check anyways, trying to get onto an open area. And now the king comes over, protects the rook a little more. This knight is also there. So yeah, the players trade down. I'm not sure if I like this for black. But white was planning on doubling up on the c file, and you would probably have to trade eventually at some point. But what I don't like for black is this endgame with pawns on light squares, knight and pawns on dark squares for chocolate gummy. So I like how chocolate gummy's positioning themselves, potentially heading into the endgame. So the question is, do you trade rooks at this point? And the answer is apparently yes. Chocolate gummy goes for it. Rook takes, king takes. Now activating the bishop, but look at these pawns all on dark squares. And the pawns here on light squares are doing a job of kicking this bishop out from protecting this pawn. So we'll likely see the bishop come up here, but again, not an outpost square. A timely f3 will kick out any piece on e4, and that is supported by the knight as well. So white grabbing some space on the king side. This king, how to get into the game. So activating on the dark squares. This king can find itself on e5. But then you'll have a check and a fork. So the pawn pushes up, kicking, making sure that the king's not going to get forked, but also keeping the king out of b4. So no clear pathway into the position. So yep, the king does find itself here. You don't want to go any further. You shall not pass, because if you do, there's going to be a fork there. So nice check here, kicking the king out, but also freeing up this square for the king. King here, now maybe bishop here, trying to hold on to this pawn by attacking the knight. So you can't take this as you lose the knight, but instead you're going to move the knight maybe here or here, attack this, and now you're going to kick out that bishop, but then bishop here will attack this pawn. So it's not so easy. After pawn push, bishop here attacking this pawn, and after this pawn push, now the bishop is still defending that pawn. However, again, it's that isolated pawn weakness that really catches my eye, because this knight having access to both light and dark squares will be able to take advantage of this. So instead of pushing b4, the king steps back to defend the pawn and threatens to trap the bishop. So the bishop has to leave immediately, and so does go to b1, trying to get out, perhaps to f5, but white could perhaps lock this down. And if black pushes, we can play h5. And where does this bishop go? I couldn't tell you, because this knight also covers this. King to b2 is coming. So this looks like a good move. No, white does not play it. What is this? So actually it likes king d4 best, which is interesting. So now the knight's going to come here and just try to win this pawn, which makes sense. So yeah, we got a good knight versus a bad bishop, in all honesty. Bishop, though, trying to remain relevant, attacking this b3 pawn. Knight takes, so that's actually really interesting. Letting the bishop stay on, but you're taking this b6 pawn. So it's even here on the a file, one pawn apiece. However, we have a 4-on-3 majority on the king side. Now the knight's going to try to go after this structure here, I believe. So going with check, now attacking the bishop. So the threat is knight takes and king here to win that pawn. So the bishop's going to have to move, and does so, trying to attack here. But now perhaps we can try to walk our king over here, maybe. Try to put some pressure on the a pawn. Okay, plan here. Yeah, I mean, white can White can play this really however they want, which is really nice. And plenty of time for both players. So Chocolate Gummy should be able to grind this one out. So again, pawns on dark squares now. Black trying to open things up. There's a check. You don't even have to deal with this. I would not take. So instead, pushing through. Going to take with the knight, probably. Or the king to threaten this check. Yep. So this is a passed pawn. We're going to see check, check. Like, you can go here first. Or you can get the check first. It doesn't matter. So pawn takes here. You can insert check first. King here. And only now take back. So again, pawns on dark squares. This is pretty much textbook. King over. This bishop can't really do much. King's going to come here. Bishop here defends the pawn. But now it's probably just reroute the knight. You're going king up to prevent the king from coming up. There is a check though, but then you lose the pawn. So yeah, this is just lost for black. Harvard should be getting this point. Let's look at our other game here. Jimmy versus Nolan. Hey, Nate. Hey, Wikipedia. Hey, Mr. Poopy. How's it going, guys? Okay. So, NK. Less than 10 seconds on the clock, but up a pawn in this queen and pawn endgame. Jimmy with not much time either, but it's a little bit more than black. And yeah, we're going to look for any advantage we can take. 1 second. Making a move with less than a second. King up. Not a lot of progress to be made for white. And black is just ready to trade queens here. So, yeah, I don't know what the king is planning on doing. Okay, g4 seems to be the idea. Black pushing their majority. Trading pawns here. Queen takes. You don't want to give a pass pawn. Queen coming in. Perhaps trying to get the queens off. Yep, pushing. Well, I don't know about this. There's a check. Queen here looks very active. Oh, gonna repeat. You don't want to repeat. So gonna go here. King here to win this pawn. There's queen check. King here. Ooh, okay. Can you just take this? Can you take that? Pawn takes. King here. Yeah, I don't like what Nolan has done here. So king over. Pawn push, and yeah, you would take that pawn. So Jimmy gets the point by the timeout, but looks like white was gonna win these pawns here, and then white would be the one up a pawn. So tough endgame for Nolan to play in the time pressure, and Harvard ties it up. So we're tied after the first round, we're tied after the second round, and now we're going into the second half of the match, all tied up at 4. Let's go back. Wait. I just assumed that Chocolate Gummy won this. That's probably my bad. This could be a stalemate. Grabbing all the pawns. Okay, you're not going to mate the opponent with king moves. Now I kind of hope that they draw with 50 move repetition, because you're not going to flag them. Yeah, I don't know. This is board 1 from Harvard. So, I haven't seen this technique. When was the last capture made? I can't see it because they're playing too fast. Well, there's mate in 1. Yeah, this seems to be some I don't know. Is this a Harvard-Yale matchup? Is that what it does to people? I don't know. So a couple pawn pushes, resetting the 50 move rule. So yeah, Chocolate Gummy saying, hey, you could resign. And RV Chess not resigning, which I'm all for not resigning, right? Like Chocolate Gummy's internet connection could just completely go out right now. I don't know. I like I don't know. I'm not the one playing. Uh but if I had the white pieces, I would give checkmate, and I don't see anything wrong with what RV Chess is doing. So now we have a bishop. Bishop. Maybe we'll see the queen give herself up, and we'll have knight and bishop mate. That would be exciting. The king is in the wrong corner for that to happen, though, a dark square corner. So, yeah, white's gonna try to figure out how to mate with knight and bishop, maybe, or you can give checkmate. Ooh, so close. That was a close one. Again, there is checkmate. Oh, yep. So we see the queen gives herself up, and the knight and bishop mate. You're gonna have to flush the king on over. So does Chocolate Gummy know their stuff? King here would force the king back. So getting into the right position. Yep, knight covering the dark squares. Let's see it, Chocolate Gummy. So bishop cutting the king off from here. If king came here, you can go here. And the light squares and dark squares are covered by both pieces. So now bring the king in. King is now in the right corner. King up. Tempo with the bishop here, here, here. Doesn't really matter. King back here now. You have a check. King up, a check, and now mate. So Chocolate Gummy couldn't find the mate with the queen, but it's okay because they've done their research. They know how to mate with knight and bishop. So that game is finally underway, or over, I should say. And yeah, moving on to the second half, round 3. All tied up at 4 apiece. I do plan on streaming a match after this. Mizzou's B team versus University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I believe they're A team. We might be a little late to that one now. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they'll start late. Maybe I'll tell them. Actually, yeah, maybe I should reach out. Okay. All right, 3 minutes apiece here. This is board 3 from Harvard versus the board 4 from Yale. So actually, the scores from both schools are identical. The top board having won both games, boards 2 and 3 with 1 point apiece, and boards 4 looking for their first points. So Nolan here with the white pieces looking for their first point against Marissa Day. Both players 2100. So these are actually two really evenly matched teams. I would say. If we look at, this is Harvard's board 4, 2059 against RV Chess, who put up a very strong defense against Chocolate Gummy in the last game. I should have checked how many moves that was. But yes. Missed mate in 1 for I don't know how many moves. Close to it was an over 100 move game for sure. Maybe even 200 moves. Not sure. But yeah, RV Chess definitely put up quite the defense. So now look at this very tall pawn. Oh my goodness. I would just give this up. I would just give that up just to play here. White looks to be crushing positionally with the pawn structure. Pawns on dark squares absolutely restricting everything. Knight here, so now the pawn can't move. You save the rook, but do you really? I mean, is that rook even living? Like, you're never going to take that. So black is balled up here. They're restricted to the first 3 ranks, really. This pawn is the only thing past the, well, their 6th rank. But white has 2/3 of the board to play with and all the time to play with. Knight attacking this pawn, but that pawn's not going anywhere. This pawn restricting this knight. I mean, okay, knight here maybe. But, like, where's the knight going from here? Oh, my goodness. This is just domination. Completely even material-wise, but game over positionally. I mean, white has all day to do whatever they want. You could take the king out for a little walk. You could sacrifice a knight. I mean, really, yeah, I mean, the bishop is just a dead piece. Knight takes, hits the rook. You're going to win this and that. So, yeah, bishop takes, though. There's a little fork. So now attacking the rook, opening up the d file. So trade first with check. Rook takes. Going for this trade, saying, I'm going to take back with my knight to defend this pawn. You could go here. Take, and then maybe knight here. So yeah, RV Chess decides to trade down. I don't know how I feel about that. I would have walked the king right up the board before doing anything. I would have left black like in that perpetual zugzwang or whatever. They would be left with just king moves. So now we trade down, and yeah, the position's like not even that bad anymore. I have that image of the bishop and the rooks just tied up in a knot, and yeah, that position looked like an absolute field day for white. They go for the knight sacrifice. They get the piece back, but no material gain. That's a free pawn, it seems, but you'd be left with these really bad isolated double pawns, so maybe it's not worth it. So just walking the king up. Just walking that king up. But yeah, you could have done this earlier, right? So who knows? Okay. There's a check now available. Both pawns were hanging. Black just trying to trade. Ooh, knight d7 check. So now we're going to win this pawn. Yep. And this bishop is dominating this knight. So whenever the knight moves, we can take that. How is Dex doing? Is Dex playing? Who's Dex Webster's Chess Web? Chess Web is against Chocolate Gummy. And looks like Chocolate Gummy has a pretty good position. Chess Web is up 3 points of material, though. Now 4 points. So, oh my goodness. What a queen sacrifice. Oh, man. Oh, that's brutal. So Chessweb up the material, but again, this king is dominated by white's pieces, and we see the nice little flex. Could start with the bishop, instead going with the queen, as we've seen Chocolate Gummy doesn't really know how to mate with the queen, only with bishops and knights, but really well done. Really nice find there for Chocolate Gummy, taking the lead for Team Harvard. Let's go back to this game. Nolan down to their last 5 seconds. Oh, but Marissa Day with only 2 seconds. Both players playing with no time on the clock. Knight can take with check. That knight's short on squares, though, so it goes back, attacks the rook. Rook saves itself. 2 seconds. 1 second. Oh, and Nolan flags. Marissa Day gets a point. So that's a big point for Harvard. Now up by 2 points, 6-4. Let's look at Harvard's board 4 against RV Chess. So RV Chess, oh, what is going on here? That's going to be a queen, and white should win this. I looked at and saw these 2 passed pawns. So the king is in time to stop this, and also you're going to make a queen and be able to stop this. So black 1 square away from promoting at 2 different places, but it's too slow. So gonna gobble up these pawns. You could take this pawn. Doesn't matter. Black is really hoping for a stalemate, but they're not gonna get it. RV Chess finds the resignation button this time. No, not RV Chess. Ella resigns there. So RV Chess bringing it back within 1. So now it's down to Doraemon, who is Yale's top board, against Jimmy, who is Harvard's second board. And what is going on in this position? So it looks like Doraemon is up 2 points of material. And what is it exactly? It's 2 pawns. So up 2 pawns. What is the play here? So active rook. Queen trying to trade down. Just trying to get the queens off. So white can take and double isolate these pawns. Yeah, I'm not like the biggest fan of this, but it is what it is. Doraemon confident to win the end game with the 2 extra pawns. So what does white go for? You could go for mate in 1. You never know. This also defends f2 because that is a threat at the moment. So yeah, denying the queen trade, saying let's play on, defending and threatening. That's a big threat. We could see like g5 and defend this way. No. Okay, so trading. What's the idea here? Ah, you have the fork at the end. Nice, nice. So winning another pawn, getting an active rook on the second. I kind of missed that, to be honest. But yeah, that was a really good move from Doraemon. So Doraemon ties it up. So every single round they've played, they split even 2-2. So they're 6-6 going into the 4th and final round, assuming they don't go to overtime. So if they are tied again at the end of 4 rounds at 8 points apiece, they will go into a overtime round where they repeat their round 4 matchups, and they play a faster time control, a slightly faster pace, 3-1 instead of 5-2. Okay, so fourth and final round. Each player from each school will play the respective board from the other team. So board 1 versus board 1, board 2 versus board 2, and so on and so forth. Cornea Doc, thanks for the follow. Okay, so these are the board 4s. How are they doing so far? They have lost all their games up until this point. So both board 4s looking for their first win of the match. This could be huge for their team. This right here could be the deciding game. But we shall see. These are the board 1s. So Chocolate Gummy versus Doraemon. Chocolate Gummy with that brutal mate in the last game. A really well-placed knight. Down 4 points of material, but it did not matter. The King's Safety was the name of that game. So let's see. Both board 1s are undefeated so far. 3 for 3. So we got the battle between the board 1s that are undefeated. So one of them hoping to go flawless 4-0. Giving the other their first loss of the match, and the board 4s not winning a game, looking for their first point. So again, extremely evenly matched teams. Yale has a slight advantage in rating on this board, as well as the fourth board. How about this is the third board? So 2250 from Yale versus 2171 from Marissa Day. So Yale seems to be the favorite on every single board, but the match is still knotted up dead even at 6 points apiece. So the rating doesn't matter. What matters is the results. And yeah, all 4 boards underway. Trying to think which one I should stick with. We should probably stick with the board 1s. This will be the match we watch because they're both undefeated. You know, top boards from top schools. This is Division 1, Harvard versus Yale. This is as good as it gets. So we'll stick with this. Positions pretty even. This bishop's going to come out on this diagonal. I like this idea. I think at some point black would like to play e5. But I'm not sure when you could get away with that. So trading off here, this knight is a little exposed. You could see a knight move. I'm wondering if you can sacrifice. Queen takes defending, but then a knight move. And yeah, that looks to be a problem. And if you take like this, can white get away with taking that? I feel like they can. I'm not sure. After knight takes, if you try to take back, they can take with check. So you don't really have time for that. So Doraemon probably going over like, why can't I take on d5? So it doesn't go for it. Bishop f4, developing their last piece, connecting the rooks. And now black can defend this knight. Could also go for the activity. You know, white did not go for this earlier. So yeah, not sure. Not sure if that worked or not. But Doraemon, better player than me, didn't go for it. So I'm sure they had good reason. Oh, looks like Chocolate Gummy offered a draw and Doraemon declined. So yeah, we got some interesting tricks from Chocolate Gummy going on so far today. So we'll see if they have any more tricks up their sleeves for this match beyond offering a draw before move 10. Okay, this clock is low from Marissa Day. And we've seen Marissa Day with no time on the clock and still win. Thinking back to that round 1. So this rook has to stay here. If you move over, you can take this. Pawn takes and take here. So rook gets off the d file. I mean, even material. But black has the position advantage, the space advantage, the center, right? Trying to open things up on their terms. Now they got the open d file to work with. You can bring the rook down. Probably you'll see this, is my guess. But then you'll go here, actually, and then how do you save that? Rook here now attacking this. Rook here now attacking that. We gonna see it? Yes. All right, so you can take this. King takes. Now this is isolated. That's a goner. And RV Chess has 4 minutes to 4 seconds. I don't see white holding on to this. I don't see it. But yeah, I decided to stop over to see this game because looks like it's close to over. Marissa Day, no time. Down a pawn. Looking to get some material back though. Maybe you just play here. And then here. I don't know. Oh, rook takes here. Makes sense. So that's with check. King steps up. Trade of rooks. Another pawn. So getting the material back. Oh, maybe winning more material. Maybe Marissa Day plays better with absolutely no time on the clock. Just a guess. Oh, there goes that pawn, though. I'm not a fan of that one. Huh. So now this is a passed pawn. So this looks like a... Okay, there's a check and a pawn. But there goes that pawn. Defending this. This, yeah, RV Chess declined to draw because they have 3.5 minutes to their 10 seconds. But this is a drawn position. It would appear to be. Check. Forces the king back. You can threaten mate. So going here, anticipating the check to block, and now that is a mate threat. Rook steps back, and now you can win this pawn. Okay, so it was a drawn position, or so I thought, but with the time pressure, black should be winning this. If the king moves, that's mate. You have to move the rook. So pinning the pawn. Rook threatening mate here. There is a okay. Rook here. Everything wins for black. That's just mate in 1. Okay. And that's mate in 1. And we find it. So RV Chess, with a time advantage, gets the win. Let's look at the board 4s. So RV Chess, really strong showing. 3 out of 4, only losing to Chocolate Gummy in that very long thriller of a game. What is going on here? White is up a rook. Oh, but there goes the queen. So two rooks versus a queen now. Nolan with barely any time. Black with the passed pawn. But up against the 2 rooks. And the rooks are coordinated. So it's not like you can fork them to win them. But this king is exposed. And black's king is pretty safe. There goes another pawn. So it's 4 pawns and a queen versus 2 rooks. I think black should win this. Hold on. Ella from Harvard with the white pieces and the 2 rooks. Gonna try to find some draw or something. But yeah, the king keeps blocking the rooks because the queen keeps checking. So keeping an eye on at least one of the rooks. The rooks are gonna keep trying to prevent this pawn from pushing. But yeah, like the king is just too safe. King here, and there's no like mating ideas. There's no mating nets. So Ella probably gonna struggle on this one, but she does have a time advantage. I don't think it's gonna be enough. Oh, that was really close. Almost made me eat my words on that one. Okay, so if you could teleport this rook here, that would be a nice mate. Unfortunately, rooks don't move like that. Okay, white now going for tricks, but now it's 2 queens versus a rook. Ella's only hope is a flag, but I don't see it happening. Yeah, that's just ladder mate. So resignation. So Yale getting a point. And actually now Yale has secured the draw. Nolan getting his first point of the day. It is now at 8 points. So Harvard is in the back seat. Yale in the driver's seat. If Yale gets a half point on the remaining 2 boards, they win the match. Both games very low on the clock. Jimmy down to 5 seconds. The material is even, but the clocks are not. So players shuffling the moves. Let's look at the board ones here. Chocolate Gummy down to the last 10 seconds. So is Doraemon. Doraemon thinking here with the white pieces. Saving the rook. Material is even. What is going on? White with doubled rooks. Pawn push. Giving up that, but gonna take here, and that's gonna be brutal. Doraemon. Ooh, having to give up the bishop for the pawn. There's a check. King here. Queen's gonna come off the board now. Doraemon should be able to win this. But bishop here, I mean, oh, there goes this pawn. No time. This might be a draw, but that's all Yale needs. Chocolate Gummy gonna try to force a win. Oh, here it is. Jimmy and Chessweb getting a draw. So that secures the win for Yale in the final round, taking the lead. 1.5 from both teams, board 2s. So the result does not matter on this board. But Chocolate Gummy is going to, do their best. Obviously, both these players want to win. I would have given this check. I think you'd win this pawn. Okay, can you push this now? That's a little dangerous. Ooh, okay, check. And then what, you have to play g6? Oh, but then you lose that. Oh, trading rooks here. Okay. Takes, push. Bishop here defends. Again, I think this is just going to be a draw. You're just going to keep shuffling. Yeah, I don't see how you make progress from either side. And this bishop's defending everything. So it's a bishop and 2 pawns for rooks. So even in point-wise. But yeah, this match is over. Harvard goes down in the final round. Yale with the rating point advantage on basically every board. So these players also end up drawing. So they go half a point each. They each go 3.5 out of their 4 games. And the final score, 9-7. So yeah, awesome game from these guys.